Good evening, folks, and a very, very warm welcome to a special part of history here in the south of Johannesburg, where we're going to try and marry two separate entities together with very similar kinds of practices. One of them being FX Cartel, which is the ability to trade on the market. There's so many facets to this, but we have the experts who are going to tell you exactly how to do that. And then the other one is the art of horse racing. Of course, RACEVOLT is chaired up here today by Christian Khalil, the founder of RACEVOLT, and we have collected a whole lot of experts around the world to give you the best information possible to make informed decisions. We've also got David Tsfx in the studio. He's the founder of Form Grids for various different reasons, which I'm sure he'll tell us in due course. And then, of course, Fabian Khalil as well in the studio. And thanks very much for joining us in the studios, guys. Fabian, I'm going to start with you because this is the area that I am particularly unfamiliar with. I've heard a lot of people these days, no specific age group, but starting early in life, they're getting hooked into the system called trading.
When I joined Sham about 6 months ago, he trained me, mentored me, and got me to the level I'm at now, where I'm sustainable and starting to make a bit of money out of trading. So when Sham decided to go down this road, it was to create a safe haven for traders, especially guys that are getting into the industry. So for somebody like me who was in the industry and just needed guidance, it was great. But for beginners that are looking to make extra money, they needed somewhere safe to go. So the thing that attracted me to coming to Sham was he's really doing it like as a Robin Hood, if you want to call it. He's doing it for the people.
Well, there's so many questions to be asked about this, but before we get to these questions, I'm going to sort of request Christian to explain how to make a small fortune, and I'll give you the answer. Start with a large one. If you want to get involved in the sport of horse racing.
We're talking horse racing.
Unless, of course, you have a vast multitude behind you, family money, inherited money, however you've got your money, you've got to be disciplined, you've got to be cautious, but you've also got to find the right brains to pick. And you've put together a very, very special group of people, highly qualified, highly scrutinized, to give people the edge for a minimal investment.
So the idea behind our platform and why I wanted to sit with guys like Sham and Fabian and Francois is we developed RACEVOLT around providing expert analysis. So when you're looking at making money on horse racing, there's a lot of studying, knowledge, time. It's the same as when you walk into, let's say for instance, trading. A beginner is going to take years to get to the level where these guys are. So we cut that out, and literally, so we're not financial services providers. We provide an opinion. So we're selling an opinion to the public.
And a disclaimer.
So look, the guys that we've assembled are ex-athletes, ex-champion jockeys. They know the game inside out. There's guys that live, eat, sleep horse racing. And I'm sure if you look at the similarity, I'm sure guys like Sham and Francois live, eat, sleep, and drink trading. So in order to get to a level where you know what you're doing, it's all about knowledge and information. And what I've seen from trading is it's very similar. If I'm going to tell someone that I like this horse in this race, I have to know so many different variables. And I should suppose that it's very similar, that when it comes to picking your trades for the day and that sort of thing, all your markers and whatever, there's a lot of homework, knowledge, intuition that goes into it, and it's not something you could learn overnight. And that's why, like for us, we guide the public with our opinions. We utilize Dave Tsfx's Form Grids because there's a wealth of knowledge and form that goes into the study, and Dave has put something world-class together that still to this day, it's been around for about 20-30 years. I'm battling to find a rival.
And I bet you haven't even got to 60% of the functionality of Form Grids. I'm learning every single day. If I'm stumped, I phone David. He says, have you tried this tool? Have you tried that tool? There are so many facets to it, because David was a guy that broke the bookmakers at one stage. That is the very reason that you decided, well, look, I'm now under scrutiny because we've won so much money from these bookmakers. I need to try and explain to the general public, and that's how you ended up on a show on Teletrack all those years ago with Nico Kritiotis.
Yeah, it was,
I suppose you become notorious when you're too successful at what you do, and having form grids alone and working every day with the tool that allows you to study form in a proper manner, it would produce what I would call certainties. And everybody said to me there's no such thing as a certainty in horse racing.
Because they're flesh and blood.
Well, my best was 26 in a row. I soon worked out why a horse wins, what are the main factors. And when I got accused of fixing horse racing, because they said, you can't, how can anybody keep winning? And the show Nico hosted with me was open to question. And the question was, are you fixing horse racing? So I pulled out of horse racing for, I think, maybe about 7 years. And then eventually I decided, let me put form grids on the internet around about 2004. Because it was far too a great tool to keep to myself. I'd stepped out of racing. I said, let me put this on the internet. Let me give the man in the street an opportunity to be able to study properly. And I've given all the tools out there that you or the next man that studies properly can become an expert horse player.
David, I'm going to break away to Fabian because I think it's very, very important that, having understood exactly how form grids was eventually started and the reason why it was started and the reason why RACEVOLT was started, is there a tool in your business that represents the expertise that is available on form grids, or is it a case of becoming blooded by experience, getting to read a graph, getting to watch podcasts or watching television broadcasts like Bloomberg, for example, that give you an idea of which way the market is moving and which one of those shares you'd like to trade?
So I've got years of experience with Sham as a trader, and he's basically our strategist. He comes up with all our strategies, etc. And then we've got very good brokers that are involved with us, brokerages we trust. So we're trying to give.
And Francois Duplessis is a broker,
he's
highly regarded.
He's one of the representatives of our brokerage. And what we're trying to get to our clientele, or our public, or our community rather, let me call it that, our community. Same as like Dave would do with these form grids, giving them the right form and the right information, and the same as Chris has got with his RACEVOLT on getting the right tips out to the people. So we're giving our signals out. A signal would be a tip, but that's coming with years of experience of studying the market. Okay, so we've got both. We've got a balance of both, where it's studying and it's implementing it. Where it differs a bit is, a lot of people would say trading is gambling, where it's not actually gambling. When you've got the right strategies, when you've got the right team, the right mentors behind you, you're getting the right information to then trade. The market's not really interested in how much money we're making out of it, just happy to present itself. So there's always opportunity in the market.
Okay, so who pays who? I mean, at the end of the day, we either bet with the tote, or we bet with the bookmaker, or, as you can do overseas, you bet with an exchange, which, watch this space, might come to South Africa in the not too distant future. Who pays you?
So obviously when we're trading out through our brokerages, which the brokerage is then trading on the stock exchange on behalf of you.
Okay.
So we're trading price. So when we do trade, we're opening and closing trade, we're trading price. So you never actually own the commodity that we're trading. So you're basically trading against other traders around the world. So everyone's money is technically arrives at the stock exchange.
What kind of a figure are we talking about being traded on a daily basis?
World stock exchange is around $25 trillion traded.
$25 trillion.
Traded daily.
So I have to ask the question, why is it so much more user-friendly to the man in the street and the general public than horse racing is, for example, even though it's a deep, deep, deep-seated passion of mine, of Christians, of David's, of many punters that we know. How come it's so accessible to the general public?
Let's ask this quickly. We'll come back to that, why it's so accessible. What are you actually in love with? The horse?
I'm in love with the horse, there's no question. I love backing a winner,
money.
but I love the horse.
What do you love, the horse or the money?
Well, my wife is a riding instructor, I love the
You
horse.
could go to show jumping every weekend.
Yes.
With the race course.
I just want to be around horses.
What are we in love with here? The horse or the money? That's the key question here. So people love money. That's what they're in love with. So that's why I think it's become so accessible to the everyday guy.
Okay.
Look, obviously technology's played a big part in it, because if you were trading stocks before a few years back, you never had live access to the trading.
So
to
the internet has
to the
speeded
figures.
up.
Correct.
Smartphones have speeded things up.
Correct.
You can
So-
trade on a plane. You can trade anywhere you want.
It's accessible and in your hand any second. It's there. It's available. So
How secure is it?
so if you're trading with the right brokerage, very secure. You need the right broker.
How do you find the right broker? Who do you trust?
So you got to do your homework if you're going to go and trade with the broker. So
And that's what Sham is really
well,
trying to
Sham
implement.
does the hard work on that. So
Yeah.
obviously they've got to be regulated. They've got to be they have their licensings done
Yeah.
correctly. And look, a big thing is having a broker that's local. All the guys are international, but the brokerages that are local in South Africa, they've got head offices here. That you can see them. You can be in touch with them.
Yeah.
If you're trading with a broker that's not local or not in South Africa, and they don't pay you out, I mean, really, what are you really going to do? If you are interested and you want to get involved in trading, you want to get involved with knowledge. So there's two sort of traders. There's a trader that's going to just go mess around for fun, same as a gambler. They're just going to go to the casino and play a bit of blackjack, or go to the race course and back a few horses.
It's a hobby.
Then there's a guy who wants to make money, either gambling or trading. And then you need the right people to advise you.
Talking about that, you'll understand now exactly how your brother's brainchild has worked, because he is trying to make it easier for the man in the street to part with 40 or 60 or 80 rand, depending how many coins he wants to buy, to make information that is available from a multi-champion like Pierce Straden, or a soccer expert, like Shane, that can give you the experience of thousands of hours of playing the game, of riding and work in many races and becoming a champion. Those are the kinds of information that bring people back to the game, because talk is cheap. Money buys the whiskey, and if you spread the word that you're getting the right information, people are going to follow you. Surely that must have been your thinking.
So that was exactly my thinking. So listening earlier, what made me fall in love with horse racing is that it's an experience. So it doesn't just stop and start with the betting, it's the actual animal, the sport, the jockey, the athlete, there's so many facets. And then what got me interested in what Fabian is doing is that there's a lot of similarities. If you're a first-time guy at the horse racing and you want to place a bet, there's so much information out there, and you're looking at a computer form or at form grids and whatever, it's overwhelming. It's the same as if I walk into, like if I open my computer and I want to start trading, I wouldn't know where to begin. Where I think the traders have the upper hand is education. So if you scour the internet, there's so many educational tools around how to trade. There's so many companies, obviously there's good and bad, but companies like Fabian's company and Sham's company, Tsfx, Cartel, and advisors like Francois Duplessis, a stockbroker is a big thing to be a stockbroker. But if you talk about being a tipster, it's almost frowned upon in our industry, and that shouldn't be the case. So there's a lot of motivation behind our tools between David with form grids and RACEVOLT. Together we want to sort of educate the people that it's an experience. You can make money if you're patient, if you trust the experts and let them guide you, and with their cumulative years of experience help you make better betting decisions ultimately. So we're not financial services providers, we just give you our opinion. And I think the two industries are extremely similar because these guys put a lot of time, effort and work into constructing their trades daily. They got to know what's going on in the news anywhere in the world. And it's similar for us. We need to know the yards, who's in form, who's not on form, which horses in the tracks, this, that. There's so many variables. So I like the fact that with this, the Tsfx Cartel, more than being guidance, it's almost an educational tool. And that's how you get people into something. You've got to educate them around it.
Okay, let's play devil's advocate. David?
Yes.
It's frowned upon, inverted commas, as Christian said, to be a tipster. Is it frowned upon because you have to pay for the tips? Do you think that a broker does his job for nothing? I'm just trying to create an
I hear
analogy.
you, and in my opinion, it cannot be frowned upon because tipsters play a valuable role. Because if you have someone that's got an insight into an industry that has tips or tips, you have tips on what should win the race. You've done this for 30 years or 20 years or 50 years. I mean, Christian's got a whole list of excellent tipsters. And what I like about what he's done is he's got a leaderboard which is transparent. So you'll soon see which are the better tipsters. So the
Well, it's no different to form grids. You see which trainers are in form.
and which jockeys are
jockeys
in
are
form,
in
which
form.
horses are in form.
That's life. It's a roller coaster
yes.
ride.
Yes, so tipsters are enhancing the industry. And the more industry is enhanced, it's compared to don't cut your bushes, water them. The more you water, the bigger it grows.
But also, it's an upfront payment. You know what you're involved. It's not saying, put 100,000 rand on a horse for me and I'll take 20 cuts, depending on the price of the horse. I mean, those are the kind of tipsters that gave tipsters a bad name because they were kind of in a way milking the game.
Well, they were guest merchants. They were in a position where they had the ear of somebody and they could get money in, and then now they got to back a horse. So
They had 5 different punters and they were all telling them different things.
No. That, I actually sat in on a meeting. I sat in on a meeting where there were 5 experts around the table, and they were arguing for about half an hour on which horse that they should collectively put their investors onto the horse. So, and the argument was going back and forward, and I was just listening and watching. And then suddenly one of the guys who was like sort of the leader of the group looked up. And I don't know if he saw a bird flying or what he saw. And the horse had the name Feathers in. And he said, "We're going for this horse.
Got the offers.
That's the horse we're backing." And then they all went and phoned all their investors. And they all backed the horse. On the other hand, said to the boys, at that stage Betfair was still legal in South Africa. I said, "Boys, I've got to be honest with you. I'm laying this horse." And I
Just explain to the general public out there who have got no idea of what laying a horse is about, because they could take it the wrong way.
Well, you see, yes. So, a bookmaker,
Doesn't like the horse.
well, he pays money so that he can buy and sell a price on a horse. So you bet with him, so he sells the horse not to win, or he buys back to win. But as a punter, you can only buy.
Yes.
You cannot sell.
So that's what the exchange allows you to do.
Betfair.com, which was brilliant to ever conceive that idea and got it implemented. It's running like a dream around the world, and like you say, hopefully it gets here. We're all waiting patiently. But you can decide that horse can't win. So if you've got a bank of maybe
Or shouldn't win.
or shouldn't win, you got you got a bank of maybe 2,000 and the horse is 2 to 1. So you can lay some other trader who wants to buy the 2 to 1,
You're just taking the margin.
2,000 to 1,000. So if the horse does lose, you got his 1,000. And if you've done your homework and you feel this horse can't win, now you've got 1,000 coming in that you can now speculate on 2 or 3 other horses in the race
That represent value.
Yes, now that's where the expertise comes in. That's where the man in the street doesn't know. It's good for him to learn, because the more you know about an industry, the more you invest. So initiatives like
Knowledge is power.
knowledge is power, and we all, like you said, want to make a bit of extra money. So yes, it does pay to get involved. You don't have to go big in the beginning. You start off smallish, and then as you see, wow, that guy's like on a good run and he's doing well, so you invest with him. Because same thing if you walk into the casino and now you're trying to play black or red, or you're playing roulette, you're picking a number, it's also wild gambling. Now,
I call it mindless, and I don't wish to be condescending, but I just can't fathom that you can walk in and trust your gut to play black or red or odds or evens.
So in saying that if you've studied
yes,
and you know you like the horse
yes,
and you back the horse,
yes.
and it still loses, you're not as upset as just walking in and backing a horse. because you've made
Made a calculated decision.
made a calculus. The
Well-
same as the trading, and it's something we teach our traders
Yes.
in the strategy. We got a setup. We wait for the setup. We wait for the signal. You take the setup. If the setup doesn't arrive, we can't be upset because it's part of our strategy. And that's where the psychology of the trading comes in. The same psychology mindset a gambler should have,
Yes.
which they need to develop over
It's
time.
exactly
Two
what you're
very,
saying.
very important
Yeah.
words: strategy and psychology. Because when there's emotion, there's bound to be something go awry.
You see now exactly what you said. If I just look and see that's favourite and Jack tells me, hey, you heard this can't lose, I might put out 300 or 400 rand if I'm at a tote or at a bookmaker venue or I'm online. But if I feel I know something, boy, my bet's going to increase.
Yeah.
Now,
Put more.
yes, put more. Now, even if my horse loses, but I've done the homework, because a horse can run below form. He can get checked at a certain stage of the race. He can get knocked out at the start. Various
Just be a
things
bad
can
one.
happen.
Just a
Now,
bad
the
one.
good thing in horse racing is if I keep my eye on that horse who was 4-1 today or 2-1, because he ran 5th or 6th,
It's going to get a bigger price.
there we
at
go.
Time to come.
That's
Got to be
why-
patient.
Yes, yes. So I always equate it to some punters going to the game and they gunslingers, gun out, bang, 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 they're just shooting. What I developed in my own strategy when I was punting so successfully at Bruma in those days with top bookmakers is I was a sniper. I had my telescopic sights. I would wait for the prey to come exactly where I wanted. I'd breathe out and I'd squeeze the trigger. Bang.
I mean a lot because there's a terminology in trading that we use that we call it a sniper entry.
Oh, good.
Exactly the same. Marries up completely. So you
Excellent.
wait for the exact right
Yes.
moment to get into a trade.
Yes.
And
But
So I need to
experts-
know.
Yeah.
I need to know something very important now. We can buy a computer form or a winning form, or we can look at form grids, or we can watch the television, listen to the tipsters. How do you start your day as a trader? When you switch on and you decide it's work time, whether it's 5 o'clock in the morning or midday, how do you decide how your day is going to unfold?
okay, so we don't really, I'm not going to go too deep into strategy because our strategies are all copyrighted. So for a reason. But you're generally going to look for whatever commodity or currency, whatever you're trading for the day, you're first going to look for setup on the trading, the bias. Where's the bias? Is it bullish today? Is it bearish? Is it moving sideways? That's basically what.
Is the bear hiding behind the podcast there? Because I see the
so
bulls there.
my partner Shem trades like a bull, so that's why there's no bears there with him. It's all one-way traffic. So he's a very aggressive trader.
Yeah.
So he likes the bull, you know. But we're not biased to buying. We go where the market tells us to go. So you got charts, you got information. That's your form, and you follow what the market's doing. So you're following whatever the market's going to do. You're going to follow.
So you look at the amount traded.
First, you're
Go off.
going to look at bias. So is it bearish today? Is it bullish? Is it sideways? From there, we can then start looking at our setups. Where's the zones we're looking at buying or selling from? Where we're going to set up our strategy from. Also, obviously, geopolitical comes into it. The news, very important. Now, during the war, it's been insane. So you've got to take everything into consideration before you make a decision on a trade. That's very important. And then you've got your sessions. So obviously, markets open around midnight here in South Africa. That's your Asia session. Tokyo runs till about 8 a.m. 8 a.m. you'll get your London session opening up to around 3, 4. Then you've got your New York session. There's different volumes being spent in these sessions. Nothing cast in stone, but obviously volumes normally a bit slower during Asia and London. Then moves into New York, you'll normally see the volume pick up a lot during New York, you know. So everything plays a part. Time's very important.
Can you work in teams where you, just say hypothetically, you work in 6-hour shifts and your partner who's going to take over from you comes in for the last hour to see things how they're going, and then, you know, during his last hour, somebody else comes in, so that you have some kind of continuity in what you're trying to establish.
So look, our analysts basically monitor the whole day. What we do is when you've opened up, say we open up for Asia and it's 6 a.m. South African time, a reasonable time to be looking at the chart. You're not going to wake up, you can't work 24 hours. So when they do wake up and they look at the chart, you've got Asia session, showed you what it did. So it showed you if it's bought, if it's sold, If it's consolidating, it actually, you can look back and see what it's doing for the day. Then you'll wait for the next session to open up, and you look how the next session, so you'd wait for London setup. London would open up, and you'll see how London reacts to what Asia's done. You'll get a feel, is it going to chase its highs, it's going to try break the highs, it's going to chase the lows, is it just going to consolidate?
See, all this terminology is so important. Is there a book of jargon that you should understand?
You learn the terminology as you're going. If I heard about all this terminology 2 years ago, I wouldn't know what anyone's talking about. As you're in the industry, you learn. There's nothing better than paying a bit of school fees. Whatever industry you become the best in, or 98% of industries you become the best in, you're going to get capped at a salary, at growth. At some point you'll be capped. Your best surgeons can only do so many surgeries in a month.
Sure.
Trading is there's no cap. There's no one that can stop. It's the highest paying job in the world. So earlier you said something, it's the what? Easiest, hardest money you'll make.
Yes.
It's hard for a reason. Trading's not supposed to be easy. If it was easy, everyone would be a multi-millionaire. Trading's supposed to be tough. But if you can put the effort in and the time into a normal job or a normal career, and you put the effort and time into this, you will become successful.
So, Christian, you've now got a situation where you can analyze who's on form, who's not on form. People with reputations that precede them. People that you could actually pick up the phone and speak to and have a discussion with. But instead of doing that, you've now made it accessible. By just paying your 40 Rand or your 80 Rand, how many coins you want to buy, you can explain that in due course. It's a very novel, but very affordable and very innovative process that you've embarked on. Do you see it growing? Do you see it, the market, the time frame that's available, becoming very much like this trading platform that can go 24/7?
So exactly that. I do see it going global very fast. And the reason being is people are starved for information on both sides. No matter what industry you're in, information leads to success. Application also, time, effort. When it comes to horse racing, it's during the day. A lot of people work. Our job is to study, look at the race, dissect the form, and as analysts give it out to the public. Now, it was, as you just touched on, it was very privileged information. The man on the street couldn't access Pierre Stradham's information, Jacques Stradham's information, Shane McGregor's thoughts on the soccer every day. Now they've got a platform where that privileged information is accessible 24/7. And it's not long, we're branching off into Mauritius. We've got a beautiful connection or person in Mauritius who's been in the industry for years and years, who's going to start taking over as our lead analyst, and we're going to bring on more from Mauritius. We're going to start looking at bringing in from the UK, Australia. So literally we're creating a global platform that gives expert analysis, and it's accessible 24/7, 7 days a week, anywhere, anytime.
Would you be able to get somebody in Hong Kong, for example? Because I'm sure you wouldn't be getting any of the jockeys because they would be prohibited from doing so. And it would be hard to get a guy like Dougie White to tip to you. But there's certainly a lot of very highly regarded tipsters over there that write for the newspapers, because information is king there in Hong Kong.
So that's what I love about Hong Kong racing, is that they provide their public with so much information. Barrier trials, you name it. Hong Kong's like the
totally
world
transparent.
It's transparent. There's total transparency. And what excites me is I don't have to approach the analysts in Hong Kong or Australia or UK. What we're finding is they're getting hold of us, because there's nothing out there quite like RACEVOLT in terms of how we've given these guys a platform. And not just the lucky few who get to work for the broadcasting companies and that sort of thing. So in a sense, it's a social media platform for analysts, and it's literally almost like, if you want to call it like, what are those talent competitions with the singing? Where you
America's Got Talent.
You're finding the hidden gems that are so passionate about the game, but they've never had the opportunity or the self-belief to maybe jump on to a career in horse racing. It's also there again, because of our reach and where we're going with the product. like obviously our intention is to spread this worldwide. It's opening up other careers, and it's almost making tipping professional.
Okay, so now you've got RACEVOLT. It's an opportunity for you to at last get some revenue for what you've done with the race with Form Grids. I know that you have got support from a very significant bookmaker, and I'm happy to mention Hollywood Bets because
yes.
it's there on your front cover.
Yes.
But it's not earth-shattering in respect of being able to have more staff and create more innovative things on your platform that you've already developed, to create a graph that people can look at, because some people relate to graphs. They don't just relate to the colors of green being for a win, or yellow being for a second, or orange being for a third, all that sort of thing. I think that there's a distinct possibility that RACEVOLT can also play a significant role in growing Form Grids so that it becomes a global entity, which it has of late become.
Yeah, you see, I think in 2016 we had 13 countries on Form Grids. As you may remember, we got a vicious hack, set us back tremendously. I had Wolfgang in the USA at the time, and we scrambled to keep the system alive. We had the guys in Pumalelo who couldn't see past their noses as to the good this was bringing into the industry. I mean, they were sabotaging their own industry, so to speak. So what Christian's done now by bringing RACEVOLT on, he's put all these tipsters in one box so that it's easy accessible to the man in the street. So we've now recently got UK back on, Ireland, Hong Kong. We're going to introduce Australia, USA. So as we introduce the countries with the form, and Christians introducing the tipsters from those different countries, it gives the guys a chance. Costing you 80 Rand to your Pierre Strelham's opinion, my goodness. Wow, who wouldn't take that?
And it's a different opinion to the opinion that he rendered from the saddle, because let's be honest, Pierre is an extremely conservative human being. If he was riding a 5 to 10 chance and you interviewed him before that race, he would find every reason in the world why it can get beat.
Well,
Because he didn't want public to lose their money.
Well,
now he's tipping because
yes.
he wants to be at the top of the log by virtue of his competitive nature.
Yes, and you know, his expertise shouldn't be 80 Rand, it should be 8,000 Rand for what he's worth. But Christians brought everybody down to an affordable link to an expert. You can hear what that expert thinks for next to nothing.
And it doesn't go up with the petrol price.
There we go.
Yeah, so that, like, literally the reason behind coming in and sitting with Fabian is because when I look how David's mind works, David's got such a mathematical mind. And 30 years ago when he formulated Form Grids, I mean, he's the kind of mind, he's way ahead of his time, right? Now, when I look at Fabian and I look at the stock markets and the trading and what goes into being a successful trader, there's not much of a difference in how a trainer, a jockey, or a punter, a professional punter or an analyst would study his horse racing. So that's what interests me. We were talking earlier about a lay. What do you call it in the stock exchange? A short or
Short, yeah.
So whether the share is going up or down, you can make money off it. It's a similar thing to Betfair, where you can lay or you can back to win.
You go opposite the trend or you go with the trend.
Correct. So you're making money both ways. So the similarities attracted me, and I would think anyone passionate in horse racing or in punting or form study and whatever would take to the stock market like a fish in water, and vice versa. So I was very interested. I always tell Fabian, like I joke with him all the time. I said, but you guys are all, you're just gambling. But I know the kind of work that goes into what they do, because we've got a responsibility to the public. You want to be an analyst on our platform, you're vetted, and that's why we've got
to be accountable.
We've got that leaderboard. Customer comes on, the first thing they see is the leaderboard. So there's you see wins and losses, and that's it. Now, you're not going to buy someone's analysis if they're sitting at the bottom of the leaderboard. right? So we've tried to expose, because in his industry the same thing. You'll get a lot of guys that are selling the dream. They're selling hope. They're selling instant, quick, easy money. There's no easy money. Easy money leads to a jail cell. No free lunch in this world. If you're going to make a success of something, and I honestly am a firm believer in this, if you apply yourself, whether it be punting a horse, trading a stock, or opening a fish and chip shop across the road, if you work hard, dedicate yourself, and give the best product and service and whatever, and your knowledge is there and the expertise is there, you'll make a success of it. And the passion. And that's what I love about both industries, is they're driven by passion. You fall in love with trading. We spoke to a friend of yours earlier on the phone, and he was telling us he's going through that learning phase of the trading. And he's an avid horse racing fan. He's loved horse racing all his life, and he took to trading. But he's in that infancy stage where he's learning, and he admits it, and it's cost him a lot of money to learn, but the passion's there.
Maybe his horse racing wins are funding his trading losses.
Could be,
or
vice versa. Yeah. So that's why, like, I sit and scratch my head for a long time how the two industries haven't seen the similarities, and I'm sure there's an attraction, because horse racing sells a beautiful experience. So the stock market, the trading, what they're doing, and educating the public and everything you get behind, it's exciting. It must be exciting.
It's extremely exciting.
Yeah.
What's important, what Christian's pointing out there, is you must know, for, what are we talking, a few generations now, horse racing's been accessible to the public, and casinos have been accessible to the public, where trading hasn't. I mean, when I was a youngster, you couldn't trade like you do today.
No, you had to go to the stock market.
Correct, and you'd have to go
You have
through
a
a broker and get your piece of paper, and
Yeah.
so it definitely has changed. And the whole world's economy,
It's fraught with red tape.
the economy and the industry is changing. And if you just look outside, you can see how business is changing. I don't think there's anyone I speak to that owns a business that's saying it's the same as it was pre-COVID.
No, there have to be add-ons. I mean, there has to be value.
Everything's changed, and it's moving at a very fast rate. And if you don't move and evolve with time in any industry, in any business, you're going to be on the wrong side of the money table, to be fair. So what was important with this is, because it's so new and well, relatively new, but people are now, like, everyone's interested in it. There's no one I speak to that's not interested in trading as an interest for it. That's obviously the lure to money. That's why they're interested. It looks like it's easy and fast to make money. The problem is, like Chris was saying earlier, if you're getting put in touch with the wrong people, you're going to get burnt. So that was why I was so impressed with what Cham's brainchild was, to open the lounge, open a community for traders to come and sit and be part of each other. But the signals that are coming out are therefore like the best signals we can actually offer.
They're positive.
They're positive. We're not making money.
They're inspirational.
The signal we send out is what we're trading. So we've done all our homework behind it to get the best signal out there for our community, so the community can make money from it. And if the signals are bad, we haven't run away. We're not doing we're trying to do anyone in or trying to do anything wrong. We are showing you we are doing it the right way. Just sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But we are to help you through it. If you're losing, we're having a bad run, this is where we are. That's why we are. Come in. Let's go through the psychology of it. Let's go through the strategy again. Maybe there's something you're missing, and build on from that, you know. So our main ambition is really to take a guy off the street that doesn't know how to trade, and within 3 to 6 months, send him out the stores trading like a professional. That's our ambition.
Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen, for joining us here this evening. In the meantime, drive home safely. Enjoy the rest of the week and this very, very shortened week.
So I've got a bit of advice for you guys. When the stock markets close, right, open your betting accounts. You've got to do something on the weekends.
Okay, just to round things off, I once upon a time heard from a gentleman by the name of Dr. Harry Roder. He said, if you want to know what intuition is about, this is your head and this is your stomach. Put your fist out midway between your head and your stomach is, and out there, somewhere around about 1 meter from your heart, is where the intuitive decision takes place. That's what we all want. We want intuitive racing decisions and intuitive decisions made based on how we can find the right stocks to trade and how to make money out of this very, very passionate and hard-working endeavor.
We call that the edge.
The edge.
The edge.
We're going to help you find
The
the edge.
intuitive edge.
That's what it is, the edge.
Folks, thanks very much indeed. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show, the first of many from us here at FX Cartel and RACEVOLT. We bid you farewell. Have a wonderful weekend.